Zero views.
Loading up.
Zero views. How do you know they come on?
Comes up at top. Hello.
Oh no, man.
Hello, we're going live with the main man, Delaney.
Is it on?
Yeah, well let me just get some subtle advertising sorted.
What's going on here? What's going on, Wardy?
Just 1 minute,
It's my first one, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. How's it going? Here we go.
I feel like Joe Rogan.
Joe Rogan. Yes, we're live.
Let's
We're
go.
live with
Let's
the
crack
main man, Delaney, Froggy, Vida Loca. How you doing, brother?
Mate, I'm doing well. Obviously, you know personally the last 7 months has been quite tough for me and my partner. We're involved in a serious car accident. So, mate, I'm still recovering, but, you know, I'm here, I'm alive.
Yeah.
You know, it's a slow process with me, but Lottie's a lot better.
Yeah.
So I can't go too far into it, obviously, for legal reasons. It's still ongoing, but yeah, I'm still having treatment for some injuries, and obviously, you know, I've got delayed concussion like yourself.
Because we've shared a lot of games together, mate. We've shared a lot of collisions.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of concussions.
Yeah.
But this were a big whack, wasn't it?
Yeah.
This were a big whack.
Yeah, mate. Obviously, it just it's totally different. I went and seen a doctor of ours,
John Power.
Legend, you know,
Yeah.
Ledge. So went and seen him just to check how my head was. You know, I was struggling for months and COVID and stuff, so it was a bit hard to get to see doctors and stuff like that. So he basically knew my brain from when I played and when he was a doctor, and you know, I done a motorcycle head test. I didn't do the protocol rugby league one.
Yeah.
And it was like so it was out. If you got above 70, it's a fail. I got 76. So he basically told me it's like I've come off a motorbike and whacked my head.
Yeah.
So that's the impact I had.
It's mad, mate, because obviously I'm still struggling now, and it's over 12 months, 13, 14, maybe even 15 months soon.
Yeah.
And we're used to, you know, with rugby league players, they always say like a tackle's like a collision, 40 mile an hour, like, you know, and you've had a flipping proper collision there, and we were talking, me and Frog talk about, we share symptom stories. We're talking about how we can get dizzy, how we can walk a bit off balance, headaches, migraines, nausea.
Growing up.
So you've been dealing with that for a bit, haven't you?
Yeah, so it's been 4th of November it was, and it was just down here on the ring road. So but yeah, mate, the first 3 months were hard because of what Lottie was in. She had a halo cage on her head.
Yeah.
So that was hard emotionally, you know, knowing that, you know, waking up every day, you know, seeing her struggle and
tough,
and then I couldn't do anything because I was all over the place. I didn't know what day it was, or I was spewing up, or I was in bed, dizzy. I was just really confused. It's like, it's hard to explain. It's a total different concussion to a rugby league concussion. It's like, it's basically wiped out, right now, it's wiped out the last 5 years of my life. I feel like that, you know.
Memory.
Yeah, wiped it out. Like wiped my grand finals out, my challenge cups, like them special moments that, you know, you cherish forever that were, you know, within our group, you know, our bubble would say. You know, I forgot, you know, I can't remember that, and they're the things that hurt the most because they're the best times of my life. You know, I shared it with you, and you know, a lot of times, you know, we won a lot of trophies together, and you know, it's the best time of my life. And at the minute, I can't remember it.
Bit
you know, yeah, it's been hard like that. So I'm still struggling with my memory, and I'm stuttering and stuff like that. And but I'm getting more comfortable now, you know, being around people, because I was sort of the first 4 months I didn't really leave the house, you know, so I was just cooped up in the house, and you know, it was, if we didn't have my in-laws, you know, God, I don't know what would happen, because they done a tremendous job, both for Lottie and myself, because I couldn't look after Lottie, because I didn't know what day it was, where I was going, what I was saying, and obviously she had a halo brace on her head, so you know.
Yeah, mate. You've had a challenge, haven't you? You had obviously everyone's had COVID, and then I think there's the stuff that comes out of COVID. But you've obviously dealt with stuff alongside it, haven't you? Do you know what I mean?
And I got COVID as well.
And you got COVID as well. You were bad with that, weren't you?
Yeah. That was a bad one. I was starting to get good. It was only a couple of months ago. So it was still when I was living up in Cookridge. So obviously I've moved houses now. Sorry, but see, this is what I mean. This is what I'm forgetting. What are we talking about?
Yeah. This
is.
It's hard, mate. I'm flipping right there with you.
This is my head. You know
I'm
what I mean?
right there with you.
This is the symptoms.
Yeah.
So what were we on about?
I think I've forgotten now. Just on about COVID.
COVID,
Yeah.
right. See, that's what I mean. Yeah, right. COVID, yeah. So I had a COVID test. I was having this like cough that was like, I don't know, Lottie was like, it was like a 100-day smoker's cough.
Yeah.
For a few days, and I could sort of feel fluid like on my chest. I didn't tell her that, but anyway, I couldn't move. I was in bed for 3 days. I couldn't answer my phone. I was wiped out, and she got a test. I got positive. So, ended up having a shower. Got up after about 3 days in bed. Had a shower, and then I walked down the stairs like holding on the banister, like, you know.
Yeah.
And then there was two ambulance ladies there, and I was like, what's going? So then we went in the lounge room, and like, we had take you like to hospital. I'm like, what? Like, and obviously my head's going like, what's going on here? Like, but obviously Lottie, you know, wanted me to get checked out, and then they had to stay there for, I think they were with us for a couple of hours, and they advised me to go there, but I was stubborn. Obviously, you know me. I just didn't want to go because I didn't want to be. My head was still. I didn't know where I was coming or going. Thoughts, and I didn't want to be alone. You know, in a hospital. You know, because you can't have visitors or anything. So I just had to sign something. I can't remember what it was, but that was it. Yeah, mate. So that was the COVID experience. So I've had a rough 7 months, I'd say.
Yeah. It's been tricky, mate. Flipping it. I've noticed like the last couple of months and that seems like you've been dealing with it a lot better and that, and it's probably you're managing it a lot more.
Yeah.
Which is something that I think you probably. Well, I got used to it with my concussion. Like, I think with rugby league players, and I always think this, and it's like we delude ourselves that we're not hurt or we're not like broken. Or
you just think I'll be right. I'll get over this.
Yeah.
Like, so, like with my concussion, I still can't see. I can't get my words out either. I can't transfer here to here. So what I'm trying to basically say is, see, here we go again. I'm lost.
It's all right. You're all right.
What were we on about?
So as a rugby player, a rugby player.
So I keep asking the specialist, why can't I get better? What's happening?
Yeah,
like in rugby, you know, I had 5 concussions, and I bounced back and could play the next week or 2 weeks later, or whatever the protocol was, right? Yeah. This one, it's banged me out for 7 months.
Yeah.
you know, like last weekend, I was spewing up, I was dizzy, and I was spewing up, lost my appetite. So I spent 2 days in bed, you know, Saturday, Sunday it was. Just wiped out, you know, and I spoke to the doctors and specialists and that. It's to do with COVID as well, you know, but it's just frustrating, you know, like, so some days I wake up like today and I think I'll go out there and I could, you know, do a weight session, but I know I can't because I've tried.
Yeah.
I've not tried.
That's exactly what it's like for me.
Yeah.
You always, you get to the point where you go, do you know what? I'm all right now. I'll be all right. We're used to as a player, even when we're not right, going, yeah, we're going to be right. You know, like you sort of, you defy what you actually are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have the feeling that you're going to go through with it. And something that I was chatting to you about the other day, it's like you'd rather deal with the physical pain from it compared to like the mental anguish of not putting it all in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
you feel a bit guilty.
Yeah. So I think that's what I mean, and that's what hurt me with Lottie. Like I'll go back, but because I couldn't help her, I was hopeless, you know. Yeah. So I felt so guilty that, you know. By the way, the incident. The other guy's in trouble. It's not our fault. I'll just get that clear.
Yeah.
So he's been charged, but I can't go into it. But obviously, yeah. But I just couldn't help Lottie do anything because I'd try and help her like get dressed, and I'd start wobbling and fall over, and you know, and I just kept thinking, why can't this just go away? Yeah. Why can't this just, you know?
It's like the one thing.
It was like week after week, and I'm just like, and then, you know, I'd start walking and I'd like, it'd be like I was pissed, you know, like I was walking all over the place, and then I'd get home, I'd spew up. Like I lost 15 kilos. Like I didn't eat for about 14 days after the accident, because it banged up me neck and my shoulder and you know, my hip and my back pretty bad. So you know, and I lost 15 kilo. I probably needed to. So I had a bit of a belly then.
Yeah.
So it was probably a blessing in disguise, really. But yeah, mate. But like I said, it's just like I just felt helpless, and that was hard to watch Lottie. And she's so small. She's only 5'1", bless her. And she had this big thing, and it went all the way down, you know, to her waist. So the weight of carrying that for 3 months.
Well, you've got your own stuff.
Yeah, and then me trying to act like you said, like a rugby league player. I'll be right. I'll get on with it. Like, but in the back of my head, I know I can't.
Yeah. It just don't let you. It don't let you. You can have that feeling that you're gonna get on with it, but then, like, it's when I train. Whenever I do something, whenever I try and, like, I went on a quick walk the other day, mate. Yeah. I've been walking better, and like this is the progress I'm getting on to. Like, I do like the same walk ever since last year. Go down through Meanwood Park, like, you know, do a bit around park, come back home. And every time, like, I used to get back and I'd be all over the shop, dizzy, like disorientated, like my balance is off, and when I'm looking around it's like woozy and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other day, like about 3 weeks ago, I did it, and it was like only low level. Do you know what I mean? I didn't.
Bad,
and I'm like thinking, fuck me, I'm getting better there.
Yeah, I'm right now. Yeah. Well, then you think.
And then then your mind goes. So next day I go, all right. Well, I'm not running. I'm gonna walk fast as fuck. Yeah. And I did like triple the amount of what and it's like walking. It's like, this is where I'm at. This is the level I'm at. But mate, I got back and had a migraine, like 6 out of 10 migraine for the rest of the day. And it was like a little bit warmer, and I'm just like, why the fuck is this happening? Like, it's like, there's a part of you that just can do it, and it's easy, but then something you can't control.
Exactly. It's like what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like you feel alright at the time, you think this is good, because you get your endorphins up or something. I don't know, something happens, doesn't it, right? Yeah. It's like me, I've tried walking, and I hate walking. I'd rather run me than walk.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I got ADHD, don't I? So I'd rather just run than walk because I'd rather get there quicker, you know?
Yeah. You need to fill your mind up with something.
Yeah, exactly. And it's always ticking my mind. It's always ticking. So I was like that. But
what's it like that? Was it sort of ADHD then? Because obviously I've been aware of it, and a lot of lads have been aware of it. So
yeah, so I've had it all my life. Born with it. So I started taking medication. I think probably when I was about, year 7. You know, I started taking some medication, year 7. I did see a couple of doctors. It takes a while to get diagnosed. So it wasn't really, when I was a kid, it wasn't really like it is now, you know? Like, there's a lot more, like, I think, like, bipolar and ADHD's come out a lot more now, I think. But when I was a kid, like, there was no other kid in the school that had it, basically, you know. I don't think, anyway. There probably was, but it wasn't a big thing, you know. So it took, like, 8 months to properly diagnose me because they got to ask your parents questions, your siblings, like my sister, me, and then they go back and, you know, they go through it all and then they diagnose you. That's how it goes. So it's not like you go up to a doctor and say, you've got this, you've got bipolar, mate. It took about 8 months to properly diagnose me, and then it takes a while to get on the right medication. So, like, the medication I'm on now is different to when I was playing. So, when I was playing, I was on 4 tablets a day, you know, and I had to take them at specific times, you know, it's like a wave, you know. I need to be like that. Otherwise, I'm there. And you know,
we had some good days.
Oh, mate. Like, people know when I didn't take my meds, you're like, madness, you haven't taken your meds. And like, and I don't even know I'm doing it, but it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, but it just mellows you out a little bit.
Yeah.
It's obviously I've got an imbalance in my head.
Yeah.
And it just steadies the ship. That's how they explained it to me.
Yeah.
As a kid, you know.
Steadies the ship.
And because I was really disruptive at school, that's why this outcome along, you know. And then as soon as I got on the right meds, you know, I was better at listening. I could sit there. Like, before I couldn't sit at a table.
Is it just like you actively want to do something?
Yeah, like I'd be like touching this, I'd be tapping my leg, like, when, you know, just I couldn't sit still. Like, I never watched cartoons as a kid. I wouldn't know a cartoon, me. I was always outside, booting like rugby ball or just anything outside. Like, on my push bike. Like, I didn't watch TV until I, like, really come to England. Like, even on the Goldie when I was
You've got to watch TV in England, don't you?
Yeah, like, watch a lot of TV here. There's some good shows over here, but mate, I didn't watch cartoons as kids because I think that's because I was just out and about, just playing with mates, and that's probably where the ADHD comes in, you know what I mean, and that. But mate, it was hard at the start, like, you know, because I'd you know, teachers come in and, you know, I'd walk out and take them, you know what I mean. It was a bit weird, but I got used to it, and obviously when I come here, you know, it was, you know.
Were you used to it, managing it then?
Yeah, mate. Like, it's like anything. You get used to something, don't you? It just comes normal to me. So now it's like, I know I got to wake up in the morning and I got to take a Concert XL, 36 milligram, boom, and that's it. But like, when I was playing, I was on Ritalin, I was on something else, like a faster release. So now I'm like on a slow release. So I'd have to take a tablet every few hours. It's a slow release tablet, if that makes sense.
Did you ever not? I'm just thinking about, like, for rugby and that. Would it be useful to not have meds for rugby? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I didn't take them game day.
Yeah.
Because, well, obviously they got banned substances in them, like, so the difference is if I take them, like, I take them, right, it mellows me out. If you took them, you haven't got ADHD, you'd be off your head.
Yeah.
Like flying like like Tasmanian devil.
Doing all the tackles that we did.
Yeah. Just running around like a maniac. And that's what you do because that's what the chemicals in it. You know, that's what they do. But for me, because I've got imbalance, it chills me.
Yeah.
Sails me.
Yeah, steadies that ship.
Yeah, because that ship fallen over and sank a few times.
You want a steady ship game day though.
Yeah, mate. You do.
We'll talk a bit about Leeds and stuff later on playing together. But what was a young Brett Delaney? So I only know you from flipping coming over 2011 to Leeds.
No, 2010.
2010.
Come over in end of 2019 in November.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Nearly 2011. I can remember you playing grand final 2011. And I was watching it, and Zach had gone and played in that grand final, killed it in playoffs. Played in grand final and won it, and I was like watching it. I remember thinking, "Fuck, I want to do that next year." And obviously, I was lucky enough to do it and play with all you boys and share that experience. But what was a young Brett Delaney then growing up?
Brett Delaney growing up was reckless. I didn't think about consequences or tomorrow, you know. I just lived in the moment. So I got a bunch of mates they're my best mates. You know, I come from a council estate called Isla Park. You know, I got it tattooed on me. I'm proud of the area. I love it, but it's a shithole, you know. In other words, but the land value is going up, so because there's what are you looking at?
Just making sure it's working, mate.
That's probably not even on. No, now like, yeah, mate, just reckless and mate, I didn't think about what tomorrow would bring, and I'd be out in the street and just being, you know, as a kid, I'd be out knocking about with mates and just. How young are we going back? Like, are we going like what? How young do you want me?
Well, you started coming into it
like what, the system or something?
Yeah, you joined Parramatta. How old were you when you joined Parramatta?
Well, I joined Para. So Harold Matthews was under 16s, 18s, 20s. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, but I made it up a year, so I was 14. So I made it up here, but I didn't really play that much that year. I played Heath Lestrange, made it as well. Yeah. So all the two young lads that made it, Matthews up a year, but didn't really play like I was like that, you know, skinny rake.
You're like me when I flipping.
Yeah, like you when you come. You
shouldn't be allowed to play, man.
Mate, I'll never forget that time we went to Wembley and you done your A levels, was it?
Yeah.
You on the bus, getting the picture. you and your twin, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because obviously I didn't know like how intelligent you were, you know what I mean? You and your sister, your sister's a doctor, you know what I mean? I'm like, what?
She's a bit more intelligent than me, mate.
Yeah, but mate, you're intelligent, you know you are. But yeah, mate, them days at Para, you know, I had a couple of incidents where I was sent home from training. I just was a kid from a council estate that had a little bit of a talent, but how do I word this? I didn't really give a shit. I didn't take it serious. I'm not saying I didn't try. I'd run me ass off, you know, in fitness, and I'd do everything, but I took it for granted. I loved playing for Layla Park more than Parramatta at that stage. So at 17, I had to make the transition. You can't play no more club footy, and I hated that. You know, I wanted to still play for Layla Park. You know, and we had some right boys. You know, but you know, I got sent home a few times. I remember Brian Smith. We were doing a drill, and my shoelace was undone, and it was pouring down rain. I'll never forget. And it was my first year. I was 17. Yeah, in the full-time squad. So you you don't say boo to who, you know, back in them days, you know. And it was running from drill to drill, and I stopped to do my shoelace up. He went, Delaney, what the f you doing, you know? I'm like, I'm tying up my fucking shoelace. Why? He went, fuck off home. I went, what? He went, you heard me. I know, can you swear?
Yeah.
Sorry. He went, yeah, fuck off home. I went, fuck you then, right? So I got my car, got my car, and went, fuck. Because then I walked past Craig Catterick. He's a great bloke. He's at Penrith, great conditioner. I'll tell you what, he's one of the best strappers, conditioners. Yeah, I've had in my career, like Craig Catterick, mate, awesome, top bloke. But mate, strapping, mate, unbelievable strapper. You know when you go.
What's that, strapper, conditioner, trainer?
No, strapping.
Oh, actually
like strapping you,
right.
your ankles and your knee or shoulder, like.
You've needed that a bit, haven't you?
Yeah. Like
better than Andy Barker.
I can't. He's my boy.
Yeah.
No, but like just like we say, but we had a Jets program, so I got kicked out of school at 15, so they wouldn't let me back. So my dad made me work, so I had to go around labouring, digging holes. Worked with my dad's mate called Zoran. He had like a big tilt up, big shopping centres with big concrete pillars, and then you hold these poles, you drop them, drill them, and then bang a big sledgehammer. Doing that 12 hours a day, man. I just thought, what am I doing? You know, like, why I'm 15, 16-year-old, you know. And then Brian Smith come up with a program called Jets, Junior Education Traineeship. So it was before you went full time, you had to go, you had to work and train around it, you know. So it got you into the real world of working.
Yeah.
And more training, like
to get you better.
Yeah. So we used to do 2 mornings a week with Rocket Ready. He was great. Love Rocket. He's a great character. I can't remember the other coach that used to coach us, but I always remember Rocket because he's funny. And Ada Knowles used to run the weights, so we used to start at 7 every Tuesday, Thursday, do an hour on the weights, an hour on the field, then go to work at 10. But then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you had like training the arvo. So you'd work all day and then train at night.
So you had a taste of the full thing, didn't you?
Yeah, and my dad, as I said, like Timmy Smith, he was in my Jets program. Weller Rucky, he come a bit later, Weller, but he was a greenskeeper. Like I went on so Timmy Smith picked up PE teacher. I don't know where he was getting that from. It wasn't like you can't get a qualification with that. So I'm thinking, and like you had a list, you know what I mean? My dad said you need a trade or something, you know what I mean? I'm like, well, I don't know. And he said, well, just do the groundsman because you get a certificate, you know what I mean? And like I got taught I got passed on what the other lads used to do, the older lads that had been through. So when I come, but they wanted to clean shit when I come. So I got taught in the first year, like we used to like go upstairs to the corporate boxes and eat all the sandwiches and stuff and like stuff like that, and like get on the gator. And when it was winter, when it was dewy, we used to hang on the side of it and ski, you know, like stuff like that, like. And then they just sat after. Well, I think Weller come, and not long after that, they moved me up to Parramatta Morris at this school, and I had to. This is why I always tell the boys down, Ryan and the boys down at Italy, if you ever need a hand, give me a call. Yeah. But no, I've done it for about 18 months. Then they sacked me because I was supposed to mark out a pitch. I didn't even do it with a string line. I just had the roller there. I just done it and it was like that, you know what I mean? So they rang me up and they go, what are you doing? And that's where we used to train, you know, flag and that. And they looked at these lines and gone, like they knew I'd done them. So they've gone, if we can get home again, you know.
Yeah.
And then I got sacked from the job. So then I went from there to real estate.
So this is while you're training for para still?
This is still on a Jets program.
Yeah, yeah.
So you do it for 2 years.
All right.
So I only done a greenkeeper for a year and a half. And then I had a few months doing passing out pamphlets.
Yeah.
As real estate. I'd never had
flipping.
I never had slacks or a long sleeve shirt. Kid from Mailer Park, man. I run around bare feet, you know what I mean? Shorts and a shirt, t-shirt. But
so So you've gone through this program then. You've done a bit of work. You've done a bit of like grafting. You've been sacked from the grafting. You've been an estate agent, and then you've sort of graduated to play for para. Yeah. What happened from para, and then what made you move on from there?
So, how I debuted, Daniel Wagon was out. I always looked up to Wags because he was a worker, and you know, now I look back at my career, that's my strength, was just a grafter.
Yeah,
work hard, you know, and you know, he used to mentor me a little bit and stuff. So I always looked up to him, and he was injured. So it was round 26. And we're playing the Dragons, and it was first or second. I had to mark Matt Cooper. I'll never forget. I forgot my boots. Like, who forgets their boots on their NRL debut? Me. Right. So lucky we were at the hotel the night before, and my dad could drop them off because we had training. So I'd training, run around bare feet. You know what I mean? Captain's run with no shoes, like barefooted. Like Brian Smith probably thinking. Oh no, Jason Taylor took over, sorry then.
Yeah.
Brian Smith got sacked, sorry. So yeah, JT probably thinking, what is he doing?
What, so you didn't have any boots on?
No, because I left them at home. You know, I just blasé.
But you ended up playing?
Yeah. So I played, but then like
who lent you boots?
No, my dad brought me boots.
Oh, all right.
Like, because it was only like, we stayed like at the Novotel at Para. It was a bit like...
All right, so not far.
It was in Para, the home game, right? And Layla
yeah.
Park's about 20 minutes away, you know, 25 minutes. So, like, it was just, I forgot him for, like, captain's run, really.
Right, yeah, okay.
But he doesn't pack boots, you know what I mean? They're in your locker at the stadium, me.
Hell.
But, yeah, I had to mark Matt Cooper and I'll just shit myself because obviously he is a New South Wales centre. Here I am, this skinny runt from Layla Park, you know, just thinking, wow, like the pace. So I had a few reserve grade games then. I used to have reserve grade back then, and so I always played in the back row. And then Brian moved me into the centres for a few games, and then I didn't know why, but there's obviously a reason. And then because we were down on centres, like Tamara Tahu was there. There's good centres there. And he went down, and I got a call up, and like I remember they stood me in a circle, and they said like, right, tell us one thing about this young kid here, and like by then I changed my attitude. I was more professional, and like one of the lads just said, you know, he works hard every day, never complains. And that was it. And I think it was Paul Stringer that said that. He just said, yeah, just doesn't complain, just gets on with it. And I can't wait to see him. And I can't wait to play with him tomorrow. You know, I was an 18-year-old kid. I was buzzing, you know, and playing the Dragons. We lost, unfortunately, but I scored a try on my debut, so that was all right. So I only played 2 games that year, and then following year, 2006, I played like 20 games because we were down on centres. But I played all my footy as a junior as a back rower. This is where everything thinks I'm a centre.
Yeah.
I was never a centre, but opportunities comes up. You're not going to say, I don't want to play first grade.
You do anything.
I'm not playing back row. I play on the wing. I would have played on halfback if they said, you know what I mean? Just to play first grade as an 18-year-old kid, you'd do anything, wouldn't you? So then the next year I come off the bench and I used to play back row, and then Gold Coast come into the competition, and we're at rookie camp, and Scott Sattler said to me, so they have rookie camps over there, they just teach you about, you know, a lot of stuff like gambling and all that sort of stuff. Off the pitch, a lot of stuff off the pitch, which is really good, you know what I mean? I think, you know, I could do a bit more over here about that with our younger lads, but that's not for me to do.
Maybe, mate. Maybe.
Yeah, but, mate, yeah, and you just said to me, you fancy the Gold Coast? I just said, yeah, I love it. Like, because I've been there on holiday, you know?
It's flipping and then, beautiful, isn't it?
Oh, mate, best 3 years of my life, mate. I'm looking out that window thinking I'm there now.
Yeah, mate. I'm just thinking exactly back to when I went. It's like, I couldn't believe how nice it was.
Yeah,
honestly.
Mate, it's lovely. Like, so I had a deal at Parramatta for a 2-year extension, and they told me someone was going to retire. I won't say his name. And they said, right, he's going to retire, so then it's all sweet, blah, blah, blah. So I went up to my teammate and went, you retiring? And he went, no, I just signed a 2-year deal. And I was fuming.
Wow, yeah.
I went, you know what? I'm out. That was me when I was young, you know? Like I really, how do I say this? I really live by loyalty and respect, right? I try to anyway, as much as I can. These days, loyalty's hard to come by, you know, in people, you know, in life, and respectful. I think you should always have respect for everyone. But unfortunately these days, you know, it's changed. But they were the two things that my dad used to drum into me. Like, I got them tattooed there, you know what I mean? So he always used to say that about me. And when they done that, I just thought, you know, they let me down. So I went and signed, started a meeting. They flew me up to Goldie. They were showing me around, and I was like, you know, it's like beaches, girls, you know.
Yeah, mate.
Like, you know, it's like, and it was, they were out of the competition for 10 years, so all coming straight in. But they signed big names like Scott Prince, Luke Bailey, Anthony Frankie, Preston Campbell, Matt Rogers. Mate, had some superstars. Yeah. Then there's little old frog, the menace. You know what I mean? But we had a great, you know, that first year was like, we started well, really well. We had Billy Johnson as a Richie Mathers.
Oh yeah, Richie went over.
Richie Mathers away was with us, right? He signed. He was hilarious because we both had knee ops at that stage. So when you're injured, Billy Johnson was an old school conditioner. All you done was ride, swim. Nothing else. Oh, and weights, obviously, every day. But it trained on Sundays, so you don't go out Saturdays like that in pre-season. Yeah. And one day I went out. I'll never forget. I went to this bar called Altos. And, you know, I had a drink and then come in Sunday and we're doing a session and I needed to spew. And he went, spew on yourself. I just went, bleh. He went, hey, Mr. Altos. He knew straight away. He knew everyone. I didn't know he knew everyone on the Gold Coast. Yeah. He knew everyone. So here I am thinking I'm getting away with.
You think he wanted to make you spew then?
Yeah. Oh, mate. I just was, he just said, spew on yourself. So I'm spewing, just bleh. You know what I mean? Then he's making me do my set, you know what I mean?
Flip it.
It was just great. And then, like, look back at that. Like, Billy shaped me a lot. You know, he toughened a lot of young kids up. Yeah. You know, he bring that old school mentality, you know, trying to break you, you know. Yeah. Some people got broken, you know. You know, which is, you know, not
you need that sort of test.
You do, yeah. Especially as a new team. So, you know, we couldn't come in and just be a, you know, superstar. The laughing stock, or because we're on the Gold Coast, it's lovely to live, and you know, you get one team, one town. They're building a new stadium. You know, there's a lot of hype. You know, so they had to buy some big names, and they did. They went out. I remember they flew Jonah Lomu over, and I thought they were going to sign him. Like it was crazy,
man.
Take
your spot.
Yeah, he would have been. Yeah. I'd have won the bench for him any day, you know what I mean? Yeah. But like my 3 years at Gold Coast was great. Like, definitely had a good time off the pitch.
Yeah.
But you know what? I played some decent rugby. My first year, I got called up for Prime Minister's 13, which is like when you don't make the 8, they pick an Australian team.
Yeah.
So out of the losers, basically.
Yeah.
That's what it is. So I got picked on that. Went to Papua New Guinea, and obviously Paulie Yates on. I knew him from Penrith as a kid, you know, like he was there and I was at Para. But yeah, so we went to Papua New Guinea and that really, man, opened my eyes up. I don't know if you've been there.
No,
mate.
I've been.
It's they love their rugby league, man. Oh, I remember Sam Friday's passport was out of date, so he rocked up to the gate and they're like, it's out of date. And then I don't know who it was. The manager ranks the Prime Minister. And he said, yeah, just let him on the plane. Like, it was like, you know what I mean? It was like yeah, South Friday, yeah, just let him on, you know what I mean? So, just like that. So, we played over there and just opened up my eyes to, like, obviously how privileged I was, you know? And then, my second year, I played City Country. I had a decent year there. My second year was probably my best year, 2008. And then, 2009, that's when I sort of got offered a deal, a 4-year extension. Going into the 2009 season. But I just thought I needed a change, you know. I was sort of, how do I say this? I felt like if I would have stayed there, I reckon I would have been playing reserve grade, you know. I had my mind elsewhere sometimes, you know. But the best decision I made was to come here.
What was a turning point for you to just like, so you've gone through Para, you've gone through Gold Coast, you've had these experiences. You've been offered a good deal at Gold Coast. Like, what was the turning point? Why did you think you need to change or you need to get out of Gold Coast?
Winning.
Yeah.
Winning. So I played 5 years in NRL, and I played one semi-final in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I do know about you. You're a winner. I'm a winner. You want to win. So when the opportunity popped up, well, there was a couple opportunities. And I just remember Delaney ringing. My phone was ringing. I was in a nightclub called Platinum in Gold Coast. My phone's ringing.
Good night.
Yeah, always good night at Platinum. Yeah, so just picked up my phone. He's like, "Hey mate, it's Delaney Badiris." I'm like, "What?" So I ran upstairs because it's like downstairs. He's like, "Mate, you know," and he just spoke about Leeds and that. Mate, he just sold it to me. And then I spoke with Gary. Spoke with Gary first, sorry. Talked about a few things, and obviously the contract, I couldn't work it out, like, with, you know, it's pounds and, you know, it was a bit hard to work out. I'm no mathematic, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, my manager had to sit down with me and sort of put these deals on the table, but he was telling me Leeds are the club, right? So when Bedsy rang me, my mum was made up then. I went, right. And then Leeds would come off the back of 2 grand final wins, and they're going for 3, and then they won 3. They won 3 in a row. I thought, you know what? I want to be part of that group, you know. I'll never forget this, right? It sticks in my mind to today. This is one thing I can remember. You know, that old Colin used to cook us food up in the where the old spot we used to eat on the other side of the computer offices up the top there. Yeah. Like, first bloke over to me was like Kev, JP, Rob Burrow, Den Maguire. I met Magsy actually through Mathers.
Yeah.
When he come over to visit him on the Goldie, but mate, like, I'm looking at these guys like they're like legends of the game, like, you know what I mean? They're coming up to me like, welcome to League, welcome, you know. I was blown away, mate. And then I knew straight away. I read my dad that night. I went back. So after training, when I went, Dad, you wouldn't believe it. Like, and then I knew straight away. It clicked. Like, this is me now. This is my club. Like that. I know it sounds stupid, and people might not believe me, but that day and what Kev and those other leaders just done to welcome me, like, you know, with open arms and I just slotted into a system.
Did you need that shift in culture?
Yeah,
shift
I
in,
did.
Like, environment.
Yeah, I needed it. I needed the culture that Leeds had, especially when Matt come. You know, I don't need a pat on the back. I need a kick up the arse, me. You know, as a player. But yeah, I needed it, and it changed my mentality. You know what I was doing. You know, outside rugby league or, you know, all sorts of stuff, man. I took it a lot more serious because I knew when I come to Leeds, I've got to buy into Leeds. If you don't buy in, you know, you're an import, you're out the door, really. But my first year I played centre again, and I wanted to play in the back row, and then I remember I was back home in Australia, and Mac rang me and said, I'm going to play in the back row. I was chuffed a bit, you know. So I come back early to start training with the kids, you know, like they started a bit earlier. Yeah. So I was buzzing off, you know, I flew back early, and then you know what, I just that my first year was a bit up and down, you know, with Bluey, you know, in the centres and that, and I was still unsure, you know. And then I had a mate move over with me from Australia, Sly. He come over, little Sly. So he come over, which was good for me because I was on my own, you know. I had a missus then, but I didn't bring her over because I thought I'll come over here and settle first because she might not like it, you know. She was a beach girl, so there's no beach here, you know.
No, mate.
There's Roundhay Lake, you know, if you go to the beach, but yeah, mate, but I just knew straight away I had to buy into the culture, the way the boys led the training. It was just totally different. Like, not just being disrespectful to Gold Coast or Parramatta, but the way my first day just blew me away, man. And I thought, man, this is my home. And then, you know, 12 years later, I'm still sat here.
Yeah.
Gary's kept me somehow.
Yeah, still in Leeds, mate. But you weren't far off from being the first Aussie to get a testimonial with one English club, were you?
Yeah, so, mate, I'll go back a little bit, because obviously, like yourself, I had a lot of injuries. You know, by 2016, I think I had 5 knee-ups on the one knee. My dad said, retire. You need to retire. You're not the player you were. I was like, fuck off, Dad. I want this testimonial. I want to be the first Aussie to get a testimonial for an English club. That was my goal. So I had tunnel vision, you know? Yeah. And I didn't care about anything else. All my focus was on, I want to get this testimonial. I want to be the first Aussie to get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I won grand finals, challenge cups, World Club challenges, love everything, right? But I wanted to be the first Aussie to get this, and I didn't get it. But everything happens for a reason, mate. So,
how did you develop into the player that you were? Because obviously I grown up watching all of the people I play with, like you say, those leaders, and playing my own game. And then I remember like walking into like a unit or a team where everyone's mindset were just like literally focused on all the hard work that you had to do. Yeah. Like whenever it's training, like whenever it's extra training, like you'd be the odd one out if you weren't doing anything. Yeah. And then it's almost like, I mean, Brian Mark, like he's an ex-boxer, he's an ex-Marine, and he was our head coach, wasn't he? Yeah. So we were like flipping, when I look at you and I talk to you and I played with you, and there were a few others, we'd sort of put this mindset on, or we'd adopt this mindset that like, I mean, you say win at all costs, but I think we took the piss a bit. I think we went even further than that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The way that we put our body on line, the way that we'd play for it, chase tackles.
Yeah.
Do you know, like
I had no respect for my body.
Yeah.
Right? Which sounds completely ridiculous. But when I was honestly playing, when I stepped over that white line and put that jersey on, I knew my last few years, my legs were gone. I should have retired a couple of years earlier. Like I said, my dad told me, son, hang them up.
Yeah.
But I wanted that testimony. But anyway, mate, once you cross that line, I didn't care about anything, mate. Like my body, I didn't give a shit about it.
Yeah.
You know, like, and that's like yourself.
Yeah.
You're much like that. So, but my strength as a player was just working hard, doing all the grubby stuff, you know, marker tackles, just working hard, pushing, talking, controlling the middle, controlling our edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But like once you see that, and once you do it, and then you see the result that the team get, and you see like how much you win a game, and those things you do win games on.
Yeah,
you know, like you just like, for me after, I couldn't go into a game and take it easier. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't ever go into a game and be like,
just dip your toe in.
Yeah.
No.
And I had to, like you say, like cross that white line. I go, all right, it's time not to care about my body. It's time not to care about. And this is when we're talking about earlier the concussion stuff. I fall into that now, it might be like just trying to do weights, but like I'm in it and I'm like, well, I'm on now. Do you know what I mean? I'm doing it.
Well, I think that has a lot to do with obviously how we've played rugby. You know what I mean? Because we haven't had, you know, didn't care about our bodies or whatever. You know, I think that still drags on now with our heads.
Yeah.
You know, you get, like you said, you get a bit excited and go faster. Yeah. But then you're on your ass again.
Just overdo it.
But you just think, but mate, like I get, you know, like talking about the club, you know, it's changed my life. Like I don't know where that Brett Delaney would have been if I didn't sign at Leeds Rhinos. And that, I'm not saying that. I'm just being honest. I don't know. I don't know where I would have been, honestly. If I didn't sign at Leeds, I don't know which direction Brett Delaney would have taken.
You needed somewhere to put your energy into, in a good way. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and that's what, when I come into Leeds, it was a structure. There was that many leaders there, like I just mentioned earlier, and you just slide in. You just slot in, right? If you don't slot in, you're out. You know what I mean? So you got to slot in. You got to buy in. Yeah. Like we say, we got to buy into it. You know. So I needed that. I needed that structure. I needed a buy in. You know. We had so many leaders, man, that, you know, I just could look around and think, he's got my back. You know, he's got me. You know what I mean? I used to go in the game so confident. Right. I know it sounds big-headed, but I don't care. And like I say about my body, I don't care. When I cross that line, you know, I'm going to try and whack you as hard as I can, or run over you, and do. I don't care if I break my bone or my knees go or my shoulder or my head.
I think like just it's hard to get it across, but I think we'd always, when we're playing, we're always trying to get that extra inch or move up an extra inch. You know, like just, and when people are attacking, or you know that they're attacking you, like that was one of our things, was to like be up in the face more than they used to, or like take the space away. And like you say, marker tackles, like we're pressing on them, and like you've got people flying at you 100 mile an hour. If you're an attacker and you've got someone flying at you from side 100 mile an hour, and you've got someone coming right in front of you, it puts them off.
Exactly.
It takes them meters away.
And everything. Like imagine being a 7 or a 6, and when Matt come up with that system, remember we come in and we're doing all that mapping, thinking, whoa, what are we doing this for?
We're running 1,000 meters.
We're running like to 10, over the 20, 50, like, we're going everywhere, you know what I mean? I'm thinking, where are we, like, obviously it was pre-season, so I'm thinking, yeah, come on. Like, obviously Max got an idea, but we didn't know what it was, but that was it.
But that was every game.
Yeah, that was every game, and that's how we defended, right? And that's when you could see people that, I won't mention names, but some people come in, couldn't do that. And so they unfortunately left. But it was hard, when you played in the forwards, especially that time, you had to work hard, right? Jesus. Them line speeds, right? Press, you know what I mean?
I think that's why we had some games where we were just literally fucked. Do you know, like we might have 2 big games on bounce. We'd do that game plan, and then the third one we'd be doing the same game plan. But we'd just be like, we'd be doing it, but it wouldn't be with as much strength. Nah. Do you know, like and substance behind it, and we'd get beat, or sometimes we'd get turned over. But I think for anyone that was coming into the team, they had to go, what the fucking hell is going on here in defence? Yeah. And then you had to slot in, like you say, you had to slot in.
Yeah, and even training, I remember like Jonesy, like he's my dad's favourite player, he's Jamie Jones. And mate, he's an unbelievable person, you know. I can't say, you know, enough words of what Jonesy does for, you know, the club, the community, the church, mate. He's the most busiest person I've ever met in my life. But it'll take time to talk to anyone. He's my dad's favourite player. And the work ethic and the story I heard about Jonesy when he was younger, and he had come through all them injuries and then to play 20 years, man.
I know, mate.
You know what I mean? You can't beat that. And then, but that's the mentality you got to have.
I know.
At Leeds, you know, you gotta have that. You know, you gotta have that. You gotta have that in you. If you ain't got that in you.
And you stop doing it. Like, oh well, what do I sacrifice now? Sometimes you say, oh fuck it. You're so used to it on a Friday or whatever, like, and you'd give everything, and like, you know, Mac could respect that you're flipping giving everything. Do you know what I mean? And even if you had to miss a few weeks or whatever, it's like, well, you know, you're tipping in for the team.
Exactly. Like, if that's what I mean. If you know, if for instance, if we had a few injuries, but you think I'll get through this game, but I might miss a month. You go there, or you'd have a fitness test the day of the game. Right, I'm there, you know. Put a needle in me, or you know, it's not. Shouldn't be probably talk like that, but that's the truth, you know what I mean. If people like, I seen a tweet, I think it come from Lunty the other day, like a couple of weeks ago. I remember he said I think it was Lunty or someone anyway, put a tweet out, said if the spectators seen what was under the jerseys and we just walked out in our jocks, they'd realise, like, the strapping, the jabs, like, even midweek, like, getting fluid taken out of my knee for the last bloody year, you know, it's like,
been there,
what, mentally, mate, the last 2 years mentally was tough, and that's when I knew I wasn't that player, you know, but you had to tell me. I was too stubborn, man. You know?
'Cause, well, that's what we're saying. Like, you're used to just doing it, sacrificing, doing it again, being injured, coming back. Like, I don't know how many comebacks I made. Flipping heck. I think people got sick of it in the end, but because you're just so 100%, it's like you're more like the short bursts rather than like the steady, slow, like long marathon sort of type player.
But then you didn't think of next week. No. It was about this weekend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With all that. Yeah. You know? Like you're saying, putting your body on the line, knowing that I might not get through this game, but I'll have a crack anyway.
There's something James Graham came out said other week. Let me just put that. Let's go in low power. 1 sec.
No, I'm listening.
Hello. Something James Graham said, and it's sort of coming to my head a bit, and I sort of resonated with it. But he was saying like, you know, like he would be like rugby league was a be all and end all for him, and he'd say like he'd be ready to die playing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fucking hell, like you talk about that white line, you're going across that white line. I'm like, I think I was. I were ready to take on whatever came. As soon as I'd cross the white line and come out of the change rooms, you've got to. You've got the nerves, you've got the anxiety, you've got the people that you're going to be bashing in, 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Yeah, and you got your teammates beside you, knowing that they're going to do the same.
Exactly,
you know? And that's why I think we done that, because the bloke next to you would do the same thing. They'd sacrifice. Everyone on that team was selfless. But what I mean by that. Yeah. The team comes first. Yeah. So, but mate, I remember when I compound fractured my thumb. So like, my thumb was over here and the bone was out there, and Andy Barker on the field. I'm like, snap it back into place, get it. But my bone was hanging out.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying to him, like, get it in there. And obviously, you can't just snap. Mate, my thumb was over there, and there was like a chicken bone I looked like was hanging out here. And I'm like, oh. And then I remember I tried to play the next week, right? Yeah. So I went in the hospital. So they had to rush me in hospital because you got to put it in quickly. Otherwise, I don't know what happens. Yeah. You chop it off maybe. So it took them 2 hours to get it in, back into place. So then all they'd done was put a little, like the scars there, you can see it. All they'd done was put this little like bandage on it. So I'm like, I got this compound fracture. I said, and I remember I rang Mac. I said, I reckon I can play next week. Right? This is how, my thought process was, So we made a guard up, right? But at that stage, because I'd just done it, it was still so swollen, And what we tried that week, but I only missed a week and played with that guard on. That was 2012, mate. We won that grand final. You'll see me, I had to wear a thumb, like a plastic thumb guard for the rest of the season because it was so loose, But it took just like the things like, mate.
You don't feel it long when you go and play, you don't even flipping think about it.
I didn't care, man. As soon as I get goosebumps talking about stuff like this. Like, this is great for me because, I've had a rough, like I said, I've had a rough 7 months. I've barely seen anyone. Catching up with you, a teammate that I've spilt blood with, Yeah. What we'll say, and it's been great. It taught me a lot, come on, because I would never done this, right? So I'm quite a personal, I don't know, I keep to myself a lot. Like, I'm not really out there. I didn't do a lot of interviews. I always used to refuse. Like, I don't like that, that wasn't me. Not being arrogant, but I just wanted to get on. I just want to play rugby, man. I want to get on, do my job, get off, recover, go again the next week. You know what I mean? Like, looked at it like as a job, right? But like, it wasn't a job for me because I loved it that much, And then the back end of my career, it was more mentally harder than physically, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because I was thinking about, right, when you start thinking about, am I going to get through this training session? You can't have them doubts when you play rugby league. I remember I had it one game, one training session, sorry. I thought, and you know what? I just went home and I said to myself, I said to Lonnie, just leave me alone. I went for a drive. So I drove to Liverpool and back. I just went to this beach, I don't know, in Liverpool somewhere. And I just was there, just sat there thinking, what are you doing? Like, you can't be thinking like that. This is like a couple of days out from a game. I'm thinking, oh, you know, like, where's the old frog? You know what I mean?
What were you sort of thinking about where you were at that point?
Yeah, like, what are my teammates thinking? Like, because all I care about, no disrespect to the fans, was respect from my teammates and my coach, right? If I've got that, I'm doing my job, right? And the Speckies, you know, and I had a song and I loved it.
Yeah.
And like Leeds embraced me, you know, and I can't thank them enough, you know. You know, my song, I love it, you know. That like used to, you know, I remember the first time I got sung, I didn't understand it, you know, like, because it was like, I remember someone, I forget who told me the words.
Sing us it for us.
I'm not gonna sing. Please. No, but like, honestly, mate, from a kid from Mailer Park, and for this
Basically,
club.
It was Delaney. He's from Australia. He's gonna fucking murder you.
Yeah. But yeah. So, mate, to be embraced like that is meant the world to me, you know. And then I thought, like, I owe them 100%. You know, they don't know I'm getting jabbed up or my knees are strapped up or whatever. They don't know that. Right, but I still got to play to that level, you know, and have no disregard for my body, basically. But, like, towards the end, it just got too much. And then, obviously, my eye, you know, it was probably a blessing in disguise, you know, because I wasn't playing good footy, rugby, sorry. And it's quite hard, like, it was supposed to be a straight, so basically fractured my eye socket. Broke my nose, something in my cheekbone. So there's all like plate and screws in here. So they told me to like, I had to wait for the swelling to go down. But I knew, you know what's weird? It was when Kev's first
year taking over.
First game taken over at Cass. Right. I knew that was me done. Yeah. I walked off, right? My eye was burning. Felt like my eye was popping out. It was weird. And I remember I looked at James here. He's like, looked at me like your eye. And I just I remember I pulled the rag down. I thought, that's me done. So I sort of knew then my career was over because I thought, this ain't right, this eye. Like, it was just, I don't know. You just have like I just had this feeling. So I just walked off and I was content then. And then the surgery come and they're telling me it'll be 7 weeks. And then, you know, you'll be right. You might have a bit of blurred vision. That turned into like 6 months. And now, like, it's life. So, like, I seen loads of specialists. Leeds done their best to try and get me back and all that. But unfortunately, the nerve in my eye is dead. That's the one that pulls it down. So when I look down, it's all blurry. Like when I glance down like that, like my hands are all, like I've got 3 watches, you know what I mean? So you can't play rugby like that, man. I can't see anyone here, you know, come blindside me. So like, but that was it. And what I struggled with was it got taken away from me. I didn't get to finish on my terms, and that hurt me. Like, broke my heart. Like, you know, I'm over it now. But mate, the 6 months after that, mate, I can't even tell you what I was doing. Like, I can't remember. Like, I can't remember the conversation. Like, Gary come over, obviously, and like was like obviously worried, and cause I had to retire. Cause I went in the room, and he basically said to me, "You need to retire. You're going to lose your eye." He said it that bluntly. Like,
it was just the doc.
Yeah, there's specialists. So I was seeing other different specialists and whatnot, and he just sat across from me and said, "I'm just gonna say how it is, because I know you've been, because they all sort of know they must know each other. Or he must have spoke to whatever specialist, no specialist, yeah." So he basically said, "Look, I'm just gonna put it straight to you. You need to retire or you'll lose your eye." I just sat back and went, like, but the 24-year-old, 25-year-old Brett Delaney would have went, "Fuck it,
yeah,
I'll lose my eye." But I was 33 then. My knees were knackered, both knees. When I done them both MCLs, when I had them Forrest Gump, 2 knee braces on, right, they were 98% torn, both of them. So they were just hanging on. If they snapped, that was my career done then. So that was a year earlier. So, like, I remember coming back and I was strapping both knees, like, always had my shoulder done because my AC joint. Like, I'd bloody always have a, like you, bandage around my head, like, put my head in the wrong place, dink. Have a split eyebrow or something, like from an elbow, or, you catch someone else. Kylie used to give me a couple over the top with his head. He'd just whack you, and then next thing your eyebrow like that.
Kylie.
But mate, yeah, that now I forget what I was on about again. So.
Yeah. Well, what were it like then? So retirement, how was that been for you?
Like I said, the first 6 months, mate, it broke me heart. It just, like, it just ripped me heart apart. Like, because it was, I love the club so much. The people run the club, everyone involved run the club, but they made me feel so welcome. Like, they're like my second family, And to get something taken from you when you want to end on your terms, it's a lot harder to take. Like yourself.
Happens in a flash, doesn't it?
Yeah, mate. But it just happened, like, he was so blunt with it. And I can't remember driving home. I think Lottie was actually with me when he said it. Because I can't remember Gary being at my house. But he come for a cup of tea and then checked on me and stuff like that. But I can't remember that. Like, because I was obviously, like, caught up in this land where I've just had my heart ripped out of me, But the best thing about that was the club. This Leeds Rhinos club is something special, mate. I can't thank them enough for what they've done for me. Especially when my dad got sick as well. Mac was really good with me. Had a lot of stuff going on back home. But he's alright now, my dad. So it's I'm more settled, but there was half a year there where there was a lot of stuff going on back home, but Mac was always good with me, and that's what brought the best out of me. For Mac was he understood me, But yeah, man, I can't thank the club enough. The transition, obviously, I wanted to give back to the club in some way. I thought I owed them, I give them 9 years of service, but I think I owe them more, I think I can give them more, as a player, former player, I can't speak high enough of the club, and, and you probably laugh at this, but, like, I never think I'd be a coach, So I had 6 months off, sort of like, didn't watch rugby, like worked at foundation, in the prisons, loved doing that stuff, right? Helping youth out, trying to turn kids away from where I was sort of the direction I was going, Love doing that stuff. I get a kick out of that, man, and it keeps me out in the game, You know, I mean, in the game keeps me grounded. You know, and I just said to Kev, man, like, is there any chance I could come volunteer or And there was no. He said, I'll get back to you now, basically, and then it happened, and Mark Butts, Butts,
yeah.
Mate, can't thank him enough. He's taken me under his wing, sorry, and he's taught me a lot, and I view the game so different now. I'm no super coach, but I view the game different now. I view the game so different as because I'm coaching now as when I played.
Yeah.
It's weird, and I like when I played. I hated watching rugby. I'd always watch who I'm up against. You know, who's my back rower.
You just need to switch off though, don't you?
Yeah. So I had friends outside rugby, so I used to knock about with, so I could get away from it easy. But I always do my homework on who was I against, what shapes do they throw. I done all that, but then once I left, trading, I'm out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that was how my circuit worked. My brain. Because if I got overloaded, I'd go the other way. It happened to me at Gold Coast. They kind of clamped down on me a lot.
Yeah.
And it made me worse.
Yeah.
Made me rebel. So they backed off again. But mate, I love my job at the foundation. Working with some schools, doing some resilience programs. The RFL supporting it, so it's great. And then I'm doing my coaching, man. Like, I've been, like, it's funny. Like, I remember like Jack Sinfield as a kid, running around at Longbar, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm coaching him, not, I'm assistant coach, obviously, not head coach, but I'm part of the coaching group, it's crazy, I mean, like a few years ago, you think it's a few years, but life is like that, what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's why I think you got to cherish, like, I try and, when I speak to young lads, like I mentor a couple of boys, Morgan Gannon and Levi Edwards, and Ganno's been awesome. He's played the last 2 games, but I do a little bit with them, just try and help them out positionally and stuff like that, because they come through the scholarship system, and I latched onto them.
You're helping younger lads, aren't you?
Yeah. So, and I get a kick out of it, and that gets me as close as I can to that feeling of putting that jersey on. Is helping a kid develop and see him play first grade. So, Morgan Gannon played 2 weeks ago. I was like proud dad.
Yeah.
It was I was buzzing for him. I mean, I just thought, he's 17-year-old. And he's a great kid. You can't speak higher. It reminds me all about you. The way you were so mature when you come into the team. Like you were a kid, man.
Yeah, I know.
But you had an old head on your shoulders. Like Gano's got that as well, He's a very bright kid, like yourself. So he's still at school.
Yeah.
Levi, he's a good kid.
It's the best thing to do, mate, to do as much school as you can. I mean, I've seen it. A flipping, I'm 27, just turned 27, and the career that I had is gone. Do you know what I mean? And it's a lot earlier, but this is in practice mentality is probably a culmination of everything when I was growing up. 17, 18, doing stuff at school, being able to do that journalism stuff like this, and it's a big message. It's a big message for youngsters, because I think you're so focused, mate. You got blinkers on when you're a young lad, and you're like, I'm gonna play. I'm gonna do anything possible to allow me to play. I'm gonna actually I'm gonna go through anything to get on the pitch, to play on the pitch, and I'll go for anything on the pitch. But I think you need that. You need something else, don't you?
Yeah,
because
definitely.
we know that it goes like that.
Like I'll ask you the question. Like you've had the same thing like me, taken away.
Yeah.
But at a lot younger age.
Yeah.
You know, I was 33.
Yeah.
You're 27.
Yeah.
So how have you?
Fuck, we're old now, aren't we? We're getting old now.
You know what? So I tell that story about...
I remember when I was 18 and you were flipping, 24?
Yeah. Well, that's you and Singo and like...
Yeah.
I remember he come in, he had this thing on his elbow. Singo. I'll never forget it. Like, and I'll never forget like Cam Smith when he was like... He broke his leg and he was... But I'll never forget that story when we go to Wembley and you and your twin had the pictures.
Yeah.
When you'd finish your A-levels and we're off to Wembley, play a cup final.
I know, mate.
And you were like a kid, you know what I mean? But then it's like, here we are sitting here today.
I know.
We're both retired.
There's a lot that's gone on since then.
I know. Oh, mate. Like, I wish I could, like I said, I can't remember those special moments that only we know. That bubble we speak about now. And that's what kills me now.
Good moments, man.
Yeah, I got upset, the other week. I was talking to Sarah Tate, my fave. I call her my fave because I always go in there and say hello to her, and I just say hello to her, walk around and say hello to everyone. Just floating about, but yeah, it just got me upset because I told her about that, and I held that in.
Because you're forgetting it. You're forgetting those moments.
Yeah, so I held it in because I was at home. I wasn't telling anyone. I couldn't remember anything. She's the first person I told. Didn't tell Lottie. Because I'm still worried. I was still on about Lottie's recovery, getting a head brace. If it didn't heal, she had surgery. She might not be allowed to drive again. She's only 30 odd, That's life changing.
Yeah, man.
So Sarah was the first person I spoke to about my memory loss. To that extent, Lottie knew I'd forget things, but like them special memories hurt me the most because I can't remember that moment or that speech or when someone stood up and said something.
Yeah.
We had them moments like...
I think I'm with you, mate. I think I'm with you.
Yeah, so, but, you know what?
But these help, mate. These chats help.
Yeah, they do, mate. Like, and like, you're doing a great thing. You have been for years, mate. Like, mentality. I know, like, I would never have done this 2 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, like, now I sit back and... since that accident, mate, it's changed a lot of my life. It's changed my outlook on life. If that makes more sense, right? Yeah. Big time, man. Like, I think about things a lot more now, and I think, right, like, I just cherish I'm here. Like, I got a job. I've got a missus that supports me, has supported me through everything, and I'll be endeavour, to the day I die. I mean, she's rode that that ship, mate. When that ship's been, woo.
Yeah, she's steadied that ship, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has. Yeah. She's been brilliant, but she's been there when I've been there, everywhere, man. And she hasn't gone anywhere. And the first time for me was to give back to her, was with her injury, and but it was a start. But we're both just, we both talk about it like it'd be a life, and I just cherish everything now. Like I used to think, like what used to drive me, what my goals were, they're different now.
Yeah.
Fully different, man. Like, I'm right into me coaching now. I love it. I love seeing kids develop and grow as I go on about Genno, you know, and I could just see him transitioning and you know, he's running around, 15-year-old, turned 16, he only just turned 17. Play first grade, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy seeing the 2 years I spent with him, and then boom. But like I used to say to him, you don't realise how far you're away, you know. But then I'm saying it can be like that also. So you got to cherish every moment, and that's like we spoke about. You know, you do anything to go on that pitch.
Yeah,
we both would. So yeah, mate.
Couldn't think of a better way to end it, my brother.
That's it, brother.
That's been class. Thank you, mate. Thank you for that, and thank you guys for
always.
Watching.
No problem. Thank you.
Turn it off. We're still live, mate. So don't go up daft.
Nah. What do you mean? What, throw the chair?